in college, Skip the Dishes, I had just moved from a rural place with no DoorDash or Skip the Dishes to a downtown section.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say the price on here, but I'm bleeping it out. Over my whole college term, I added it up one time, like just takeout and stuff.
That's a car.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, there was a few times where I looked and I'm like, oh God.
Jumps down and slides down the hill. I see shots going above his head.
So she's like, oh, great, on her one day off, you're trying to romance this Pan Am chick. I'm like, honey, it's V, it's not me. Come on.
Brought back some old Catholic school memories, did it?
Oh man, yeah, you just okay, you know the DMV sloth?
I know you're going with this.
Yeah. This guy.
You're listening to On the Rewind.
Okay, and welcome to On the Rewind, an Amherst Island Broadcast Edition 101.3 FM. We're also on Spotify for the whole show, but also our extended edition is over on Spotify, Amazon Music, anywhere you really listen to podcasts, we're going to be there. So, Derek, how's your week's been going? I do actually want to apologize to the listeners for missing last week. I have been sick as a dog, and it is still hanging on. And as you can imagine, my weeks have not, well, they've been interesting, but it's nothing I think you guys want to hear about. So I am going to toss it over to you, Derek. What's it been going on? How's your week's been going?
Well, I'm getting the hang of piping HVAC, but that's just besides the point. That's a whole other thing. Burned myself plenty of times. I'm probably more burn scars than
I can actually see it on Discord.
On hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see all the little burns. But
they're getting close to your tattoo too, eh?
It's scary.
Yeah, I know. That terrifies me. I'm like, oh, that's my biggest worry too, is if I get like my arm bitten off by a shark, I need a reimbursement check or something, man. I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah. No, yeah. I feel you there. That's like working in the industry that I do. That's like the one reason why I'm like, I want more tattoos, but I'm still constantly getting cut up and burned and everything else like that. It's kind of this like, maybe I'll wait a little while longer.
Yeah.
But little big things for me. So been doing the Cyberpunk tabletop, Cyberpunk Red. That's been getting a bit more interesting as I go. There's a Humble Bundle deal on where I bought a bunch of the extra books for really cheap, and I went to charity as well, which is cool. But they have this thing in one of the expansion books. So are you familiar with Kibble in Cyberpunk?
No, that's a dude, I'm assuming?
No. So as we kind of went over in the one episode, you choose your lifestyle, like your budgeting, like what your character eats, and kibble is like essentially human dog food.
That is hilarious. Okay.
But in Interface Volume 3, they added a chart that you roll two 1d10s, or they call it a 1d100, but essentially, two 1d10s to determine the value. And you roll on different flavors.
Okay.
So, because I went with general pre-pack, I don't have to worry about that. My character pretty much lives off of MREs.
Yeah.
Equivalent, right? Like the little vending machines package comes out. It's the food question mark.
Yeah.
Whereas we have our Netrunner who is living pretty much like most people in Canada.
So like very little groceries?
I just mean like, like the tent cities that are popping up everywhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. The general pop. Yeah. All right.
Oh, that's scary. One check away. Anyway.
Yeah.
With that, So he's eating the human dog food, and I bought the books just in time before the session. We pointed out we actually rolled for it. So he went to a smoothie place. So we got like a blended kibble smoothie,
Ugh.
and we rolled to see what flavor it was, and it was popcorn.
Oh my god.
And what's funny is you can get protein kibble,
Yeah.
and the quotation mark next to that is, "Do you even lift, Chumba?"
Oh.
There's funny quotes next to all these things, and like for the
Yeah.
popcorn, it was like original butter quotation marks flavor.
Oh, I just imagine like the buttered popcorn Jelly Belly, and I can't stand those. Ugh. Like, no.
Yeah.
Oh, and the protein would just make it weird.
In my traditional D&D game, the DM is still trying to kill me. And
Yeah.
he successfully, my character's still cursed, and probably the next session's gonna determine whether he lives or not. But I got a backup character made up.
Yeah.
Backup
So,
character is kind of a fun twist. It's a melee tank wizard.
yeah,
build.
yeah, you were saying that like pretty much you're gonna be going from overpowered to super overpowered.
No, going from, I guess he's not overpowered in the way he's not doing a lot of damage, but he is able to take a lot of damage.
Yeah, yeah, like
So
more than
he's
your
already
average.
complaining about how hard it is to kill my guy now,
Yeah.
and this guy's gonna have, without a shield, like 20 AC, and my character now has 20 AC with a shield.
You gotta have a third backup that's just somehow a crazy rule that got loopholed years ago.
Oh, I already got that in the bag.
I
So
love
fun
that.
thing about Hexblade Warlocks,
Yeah.
they have a pact weapon and a hex weapon.
Yeah.
But the way it's written, it doesn't have to be the same weapon. So you can have two weapons that you're swinging with your charisma modifier. So
Okay.
all you gotta do is bump up charisma and dexterity, and you're now tanky, and you're gonna hit everything.
Mm-hmm.
Add some
God, yeah.
sorcerer levels down the road, and now you're casting 2 fireballs at will. And if someone gets close to you, you bonk them.
All right, can't wait to hear about that one. Yes, just see how the DM goes with it.
Oh, I'm gonna get kicked out. I'm kidding. But yeah. But that's kind of, I started watching a show on Paramount called The Neighborhood. It's got about 6 seasons out. It's
Okay.
got actors from all sorts of different kind of sitcoms.
Yeah.
But they got what's that? Not Lost. New Girl. They got actors from that. They got actors from like Two Broke Girls. Like a lot of like the kind of the old like 2.5 Men like writers,
Yeah.
as well as with actor from a couple TV shows. Thought you might have been on a couple other ones, but so he was actually in Burn Notice, that old show from 2007 for an episode.
Okay.
And he's done a couple guest appearances on other things. He was in the Vice Principals TV show. That's kind of got me curious, because he's actually kind of funny with the comedy there.
Yeah.
He was in the Great News TV show, and he was in that movie Boss Level. Have you seen that?
I have heard of it, seen the trailers of it. I never actually committed to it yet.
It's an alright watch. Like, if it's not something like, oh, you gotta watch it, but it's like, hey, if
Yeah.
you got nothing better to do, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, it was weird too. It got released in a year with a bunch of time loop movies.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
also a time loop movie.
Yeah, I know. So that's always why kind of kept me away from it, because I'm like, wow, this is like the theme this year for some reason.
Yeah, but it's got so Max Greenfield, who was also in New Girl. There was Cedric the Entertainer. Also, you got Sean McKinley, and so those are kind of like the four. No, I guess yeah, the 3 actors I mentioned there. They all kind of come from comedy, from a lot of different kind of writers, like a lot of CBS and other shows like that. Cedric the Entertainer, you'd probably recognize him as a comedian. I'll go ahead and send you the link to just kind of what he looks like there. Like he's probably the most recognizable out of the bunch, and he kind of plays the grumpier neighbor, but it's like, tough shell, teddy bear on the inside.
Oh my
Kind of
god,
builds
yeah,
the show
I
around
know
that.
who he is. Yeah.
Yeah. So they got a bunch of other people on there, but those are kind of like the main ones there. You also got, I'm gonna butcher her name, but Beth Briers.
Yeah.
Okay, I got that. She was also on Two Broke Girls, or with the person that
Oh
played
yeah, she was.
Max that went on to the movie Thor for I think a single movie. I don't know if did she ever show up in the Marvel Universe a second time?
I wouldn't be good for that. I'm usually bad.
No. Hey, Kat Dennings. She was in the first Thor. I guess she makes an appearance in Okay, yeah, she's in Thor, WandaVision, and Thor: The Dark World. And I guess Love and Thunder. She's listed. Okay, so yeah, she made her rounds in that regard. Oh, she's also in Big Mouth. Who should she voice act? Yeah, I'm going down a rabbit hole. Anyway, so the neighborhood, it's kind of in the new like Big Bang Theory binge watch catch up kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
Just good family sitcom kind of thing that you can kind of just relax to.
Yeah, you're not.
There's a semblance of a story, but they kind of hit the same similar beats. Essentially, the premise is you got a really upbeat, happy Minnesota white guy moving to a black neighborhood.
All right, that raises some funny, yeah.
Yeah, and he's trying to. Yeah, there's some humor in there, and I don't know how to really explain that proper, but oh god, I am terrible at this. And you think we've been doing this for how long? God damn.
I thought about actually that. I'm like, I wonder if we've ever actually improved. We're having fun. Our flow's getting better, but I don't know if we've ever actually improved.
Oh, my flow's terrible, but also I'm coming down because I was like caffeinated at 5:30, and then we started an hour later, and I'm like,
yeah, no, that is totally my fault. You were caffeinated. I was passed out with like a box of tissues, and not the fun way.
I crashed like 10 minutes before I realized you called late.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah,
things that go into making this. But in regards to shows, so I was watching that. Not too much else. Like we were going on before we started the anime kick. The problem with that is like you get like 20 minutes, and like 5 minutes of that is intro and outro, and then like 3 minutes of recap, and then you're left with like 10 minutes of new content.
Yeah.
And then you gotta wait another week.
Yeah, it's gone in a blink of an eye.
Yeah. I got some lists for some game stuff, but I still want to throw it out to you while we're still in the radio section. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
How's your week been?
Well, yeah, my week's kind of been crappy. Just because I was I was pretty badly sick, and then this cough for some reason has held on. Wasn't too bad for my birthday. Had to work on it, but the only reason I really wanted to bring it up is because someone here gave me a game that I just so happened. I woke up late because my sleeping's been awful since this. I woke up late to breakfast in bed though, so that's a plus. And I was sitting there, and I didn't really have a lot of time, so I had to wolf down this breakfast. So I put on the Before You Buy for Pacific Drive.
Was it a Game Ranks video?
I believe so. Okay. I literally turned on YouTube upstairs on the Amazon stick thing, and it was there. I was like, oh sweet, I actually want to see this. And it's funny, about like mid-afternoon, also I get an email saying Steam, that I have a little gift on Steam, and I look at Pacific Drive, and it's from you. I just want to say, you even kind of half mentioned it. I was super surprised it was a single player game. And that meant so much to me. Because I was like, aw, usually you would buy me a game in the drop of a hat, but if it was a multiplayer game we could play together, that
Yeah.
was just you being like, nah, I want you to have a little fun. And I don't know, the rest of my shift went really well because of that.
Oh,
And I was
that's
just
good.
like, it's like those ones where it's like, it's guys on work sites, and it's like, when she texts you, have a good day, Pookie Bear. And all of a sudden that song, you're on my heart, you're on my mind. And it's just guys like kicking their feet as like welders are going by and like hammers are dropping. And it's just like they're pouring concrete, they put a little heart into it and stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, no, I had a great day after that. I was like, oh, that's really nice of you. So yeah,
No,
that'll
I blurted onto it's like I wanted to get you health hours too, so I could drag you into a game with me, but this is for you.
yeah, I know. That's literally exactly what I was thinking when I saw that. I was like, oh, he could have done something. Though he's like, no, now you gotta play together with me. I'm like, which is fine. But then all of a
Yeah,
sudden, it's like it took a little extra care to be like, no, King, you have this, you enjoy this, and it's like I am going to enjoy the hell out of that. I'm
yeah,
like trying to find a day where I can really jump into it and really like explore it because I know it's super scientific and all that, and I really want to have
yeah.
fun with it. So I'll definitely be updating on the podcast about that. But no, thank you a lot. No, that was nice of you. Thank you.
I'm glad
Yeah,
you enjoy.
yeah, of course. Oh, sorry. For anyone who doesn't know, Pacific Drive is like a, from what I've seen, I don't really spoil it too much for myself. It's almost like a dimension hopping station wagon. Um, parallel universe, weird. Um, I forget who makes Cthulhu, but people usually like to say it's like that esque of just weird
Okay.
stuffs.
If you've ever seen Into the Radius, it's kind of in a similar vein to that. It's like so Into the Radius, it's you're monitoring and going into like Chernobyl,
Yeah,
and there's all sorts of weird kind of like Pacific Drive. You got kind of weird floating geometry happening. You got your environment trying to kill you.
yeah,
There's these weird shadow figures, and pretty much the world got warped into. If you've ever seen Secret World or anything like that, it's kind of like you're kind of saying Cthulhu, but H.P. Lovecraft, but it's
that's what I
not
was trying to remember.
completely like horror. It's survival, but it's like scientifically horrifying,
Yeah,
but
yeah, because
also
they
very
almost,
beautiful visually.
oh yeah, they almost like try and justify that this might be able to happen.
Yeah.
The
But
science
with
of it.
Pacific Drive, so the studio behind that is Ironwood Studios. It's their first debut game as that studio. The head CEO of that studio has worked for Sony, Oculus VR, and a couple other companies, and this is his first. No, I'm gonna
Oh,
go make
okay.
my game
All right.
with his own staff.
It looks cool.
So yeah, and it's
Yeah.
actually made on the Unreal Engine 4. And they only started developing this back in 2019, which sounds like it was only like 2 or 3 years ago, but it's 2024.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Yeah.
um, they're Seattle based.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
which
I'm
kind of
excited because like
yeah,
upgrading your station wagon and stuff looks really cool. And then when you're in the car, you can highlight certain parts of like the parking brake and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, is there gonna be like some funky drive in here or something like that? I don't know.
kind of. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know how much you've watched of it, but like the very beginning is you're putting on tires.
Yeah, yeah. I'm assuming you come across the station wagon, then you kind of start your thing. But I don't know, it looks really neat. Of just like it's almost like
Honestly, there's part of me that just wants to sit behind you and watch you play to
yeah,
see how you to see how you react.
it looks like a fun one. Cause
Yeah.
what's that zombie game? where you have where your bike is everything.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
Days Gone.
yeah, yeah. It kind of gives me the feeling of that, where it's like this station wagon is your life, so you
Yep.
need to make sure you don't mess that up.
Yeah. So just a blurb from like the game description without spoiling anything. So Pacific Drive's the first-person driving survival game with your car as your only companion. You
Yeah.
navigate a surreal reimaging of the Pacific Northwest and
Hmm.
face supernatural dangers as you venture into the Olympic exclusion zone. So you go on incursions into the wilderness that, it's going to bring you challenges. You're going to restore and upgrade your car
Yeah.
um, consistently. And you're going to gather resources, investigate what's left of the zone, and try and unravel what's happened.
All right. Yeah, yeah. I've tried to remain semi spoiler free, but then there was a thumbnail that said, "Who is the girl lost in the incursion zone?" or something like that. So I think there might be like multiple things you're kind of checking out.
Yeah.
But it seems interesting. Seems very interesting. But yeah.
Like, you're not completely alone in it, in a sense,
Okay.
from what I gathered. So a lot of it's just kind of your interaction with anybody is just you listening over the radio.
Okay. Okay. Kind of like Firewatch esque.
Very.
Yeah. 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 It's like on the game ranks thing. They said it's just on the cusp of being so challenging it's not fun, but then they took it back 3 steps and it's challenging and fun very well mixed, because apparently
Yeah.
sometimes you'll just be like changing a lug nut on your tire, and all of a sudden out of nowhere this mist rolls in and you're like, your whole day's ruined, you're just done. But yeah, so that looks really interesting to me. I can't wait. I already have it downloaded. I just actually want to give it a fair shot of my time.
Yeah.
And like wake up, have a cup of coffee, have a dart, and then I can start it up. But yeah, no, I just want to give a little shout out to you because that was a freaking sweet.
Oh,
Um,
thanks.
yeah, I know that was cool. But yeah, no. Besides the birthday, pretty much I woke up, had eggs Benedict because my partner dropped that off. Worst thing ever to eat in a crunch and then go to work. I've only ever done this whole, I call it the McCaffrey breakfast. First time I've ever done that. It's kind of a nice way to just kind of do something like give a nice cheap idea to my partner for what to do for my birthday.
Yeah.
Where I pretty much say, if you rent me a horror movie and you give me breakfast in bed, I'm gonna have a great time no matter what I do. So the first time we did this, it was based off of Winston Churchill's breakfast. Which I don't know how that man got out of bed every day, let alone like ran anything, because I think I broke it down one time. It was like sausage, female bacon, 4 eggs, two things of toast, fried tomato, beans, shot of vodka, actually no, a shot of whiskey, orange juice, coffee, cigar, and
Okay.
then I think something else too, like another 2 dishes. So the first time we did this, Kayla recreated it word for word, like each one. It was kind of cool smoking a cigar in bed, but besides that, I pretty much woke up, ate all of this, and passed out because I was just done. Like I tried getting up, I'm like, I'm either going to puke or I'm going to puke. There was actually really no in between. So yeah, this year I was like, calm down on that. I have to work. Just try something a little bit lighter. And she came back with smoked meat eggs Benedict, which was eggs Benedict with smoked meat on it. And I barely got to work. Like I rolled in. I'm like, okay, well, hey, how's everything going? I'm going to the washroom. And I just sat there. I'm just like, my tummy hurts so much for the rest of the day. You can't You can't like wolf that stuff down. It's just not smart to. It's so like fatty in content. Um, but yeah, besides that, just kind of had a nice chill little birthday. Nothing too special. Forgot to get dinner, so at like 11, I ordered McDonald's for myself, and yeah, that's a big old day. But yeah, um, yeah, you were talking about TV. I do have a few shows I can go over, and actually one movie too. Um, and I'll throw it to you for the rest of yours. Have you ever heard of Patriots Day?
No,
It is
not
a
for a show or a movie wise.
is a movie with Mark Wahlberg in it, and it's about the Boston Marathon bombing.
Okay.
And yo, holy cow! Um, one, my partner does not get emotional at all. Like it was a huge problem for us most of our relationship. No emotion. She's obviously gotten better, but all of a sudden we're watching this movie, and almost at the same time we both are sitting on opposite ends of the couch, and we both look over at each other. We both have tears stream down our face. And I go, all right, happy birthday to me, because that's what I watched instead of a horror movie. Watched Patriots Day, and dude, sometimes that stuff. I don't know if it's a tearjerker because you feel bad, or mostly it felt like it was almost scary because they would mix in real life footage with the dramatized stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
And the fact that all of this was real, there are some moments where all of a sudden you're like, this makes me terrified to go outside. Cause like they covered all the people that just were doing their regular thing. And yeah. And some of the circumstantial people that were just there by chance. Yeah. Yeah. No, that was brutal. Yeah. And then God, I told Kayla, it's like, you know how hot it would have been if both of us were Boston. Oh my God. I literally just bought a pack of I almost said the bad word for them. Tank tops on Amazon. I'm just go walk around wearing those now. Cause yeah, oh my God, this sucks. You Boston. Oh, I would just love it so much. Yeah, a lot of people find that like accent like very grimy or grinding on their ears. It is like the most attractive accent to me on a man or a woman.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
God.
you like the I'm walking here.
Yeah, just I'm walking here. What are you doing? Oh God, it's so nice. Anyways, yeah, it's like funny moments in that just with the Boston, but then when you actually like, because they put timestamps on it, they put real security video from it, and you watch what happened, and like at the end they bring in the real people that they were talking about, and it's like this actually all happened verbatim of what they said, and it is a crazy 5 days that actually happened, because like the news knew some of it, but then it didn't know others until years later. But no, that is a crazy movie to watch. It's on Netflix right now. I think it's only like 2 hours, but no, it's really good. That, and then pretty much for my whole sickness, I have been right into Narcos. Right into Narcos.
The OG Narcos or the spinoff?
It's actually funny. I finished OG Narcos. Now into Mexico. Narcos Mexico.
Who do they cover for Narcos Mexico?
They cover Felix, can't pronounce his last name. Pretty much he got all the plazas together. Oh, by the way, just for listeners too, this is all real people. Like these are all 100%. Some names are changed, but if they had a nickname, left the nickname in. Like Al Chapo's in the show. Yeah, so yeah, Mexico's pretty sweet because if you think about it, Narcos, OG Narcos, if you put that on a timeline, it's set there with what happens. And then if you go to Narcos Mexico, you have that same timeline and stretch it out a little bit longer on both sides. And that's what Narcos Mexico is. From what I can
Okay.
see so far. I'm just finishing up season 2 out of 3 of Narcos Mexico, but it's like over capping everything that's happened. Because
Mhm.
the Mexican cartel was mostly pot for a while. Like for a long while, and then ended up almost just being middlemen for coke to get into the States, because there was so much money in it that pot kind of fell by the wayside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
Um
whole like. Now, this is not to be taken as solid advice, but there was the uneducated assumption that weed was safe, everything else wasn't. Now, mind you, I've heard of plenty of lace things happening and all that,
oh yeah.
but that's where it was just like, don't trust the powder, but the
Yeah.
green was fine,
Yeah.
which was not the case. But
Oh yeah. And it's funny because they cover a lot of political stuff in both shows of what was happening then, and like you could be running heroin or something like that, and they really did not care. It was like it was all almost campaigning and political speeches around cocaine that like made them super, like that's the one they're going after. Like they kind of cared about pot, and then it just dropped right off, and they're like, no, this is the big one that we need to get to. Um, and it is cool because every once in a while they will show once again real photos from what happened, and most of the DEA agents that they cover, they did them justice with their lookalike actor parts.
yeah,
Except for the very first Narcos show, the white guy they do in there, God love him, he did a great job. He did a service to his country. He is not an attractive man. He is not good, but they did him good though with his actor. They got him like a nice looking dude, and then you don't really see him, and then at the very end they show a picture of him and you're like, oh, that's the guy that we've been like, yo, he's such a bad bleep. But yeah, you're like, yo, he's looking like John Wick going down this hall. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, he looks like my accountant. Like my accountant that has like the sniffles. Like, what are you doing?
it's like it
Yeah.
looks like he goes from Keanu Reeves to Patton Oswalt.
No, yeah, yeah. No, like no joke. Bald spot with a little bit of fluff in the middle that could have been shaved off, like Coke bottle glasses. But with the guy that they had was like a pretty fit white dude with a mustache. Like, yeah, like it everyone else though, because they show real pictures, they did them pretty spot on. But it was just this one dude that you could tell they were in a meeting and they had to be like, all right, let's put a little makeup on this pig and shove her out the door. But yeah, but there was some crazy stuff that like you'll be watching both shows, either Mexico or the regular one, where you're like, there's no way this was real. And it feels like they know exactly when you're thinking that, because then they'll show actual footage or photos. And they're like,
Yeah.
no, this actually happened. And it's like, yeah, you don't hear much about this part. No, you just hear about the DEA getting him. You don't hear about the awful things that they missed him doing. Mostly Escobar. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cali cartel, which was Escobar's rivals, they had a Time magazine piece called Cocaine Inc. I don't know. That's one of my favorite title pieces that I've seen them. Um, they had something called the Cali KGB, and they ran it just like the Soviet Union, where like there were bugs everywhere. There were bugs. They paid every taxi company to listen into conversations and record them. Like anywhere you went, there was probably a microphone on you, and
Hmm.
it's so interesting to me. Like different ways how these people like when you. I don't know about you, but when I think of like drug dealers and stuff like that, I think about some guy in a basement that's probably behind on child support payments. Like these ones are like, no, they're running it like a Fortune 500 company. Like they have like foundations set to this. Like there's guys in accounting that like they're like, oh yeah, I work for this cartel. It's like, oh okay, like have you ever like killed someone? It's like, what are you talking? No, I work a 9 to 5. The benefits amazing. Like we had a corporate retreat. What are you talking about? It's like I get 5% off at Subway with my company card. It's like, all right, this is just weird to see, and how it just like the government down there just let that happen. But yeah, yeah, that's as you can tell, this is pretty much all I've been doing for the last couple weeks. So that's
Here you are
pretty much
watching crime documentaries, dramatized, and here I am just watching feel-good sitcoms.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, Patriots Day was a mistake. Narcos does get you hyped. The only problem is it's Spanish, so like all of a sudden I'll get a message from you or something. I'll look at my phone and go, huh, and then you don't understand what you're hearing in the background. So all of a sudden you look up and you go, oh, that's all 4 of them are dead now. What the hell just happened? So you gotta like rewind like 20 seconds. So that's the only part that's pissing me off about it. But
Yeah.
no, it is good. It is good. So what shows? Any other shows you watching? Some feel goods?
The Neighborhood was the feel good.
Yeah.
But I will say I kind of get that feeling for like the anime and the cartoons and stuff, because you'll be watching. It's like, okay, yeah, this one's in English, and you'll start watching, and you'll get the first like 4 episodes watched in English, and then you realize, oh, there's 3 more episodes out, but I gotta watch it with subtitles, and it's in Japanese.
Oh,
I want to know what's going on, so you start watching it subtitled, and then the dub never surpasses the
No.
subtitled. So you're kind of just like, all right, I guess I'm watching this version now. But
Yeah, I've heard that for a lot.
yeah, and it's one of those things, like, you know me, I like putting a show on, and I've made the mistake a couple times where it's like I'll throw, like, if it's in English, yeah, I can throw on a second mod or glance over, get the gist of what's going on.
Yeah.
But subtitles, you're Okinawa, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And you're looking to the left, and then you look back to the right. Oh, I'm being eaten alive. Okay.
Yeah. There's death on one screen. It's just whichever one I don't pay attention to. That's hilarious.
Yeah. But games wise, as you can probably have seen, every time looked at probably your Steam's friends list, you've seen me
Yep.
on Helldivers.
Yep. Honestly, like times where I'm like, oh god, my sleep's messed up. No one's gonna be on. All of a sudden I look over like, Jesus, he's on
Yeah,
again.
it's like I forget off like 9 or 10.
Yeah. Liberty, patriotism. I like it.
Democracy. Okay,
Yeah.
so with that, do you know anything of the lore of Helldivers?
No.
Okay, picture like Super America, but
Yeah.
like back
All of
in
Earth?
they have weapons of mass destruction, but we want their oil
That's
kind
funny.
of era,
Yeah.
spreading managed democracy and liberty. And it's not like, so they're like, they have lore, so when you vote in their democracy, they ask you 7 questions, and then based off of your answers, the computer will automate your vote for you to who's best to represent you.
Oh,
So managed democracy. So that's how you know they can always rig the vote. The computer's voting for you.
Yeah.
The
That'd be
bugs,
interesting
they
if it
nearly
worked.
solved that. They nearly solved that problem, but they ended up using the bugs decompose into oil.
Yeah.
So then they're like, okay, how do we get more oil? Let's breed them. And so
Okay.
they would breed them on off-site planets, and then the breeding could never be done safely. They'd always kind of create a hive
Yeah.
and kind of develop too fast. So, infinite oil, but, how many troops you got?
Yeah, exactly. I like that though.
The automatons are from cyborgs.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering what's why How did you make the jump to robots? Like why?
So it was cyborg people that were treated like second class people.
Okay.
Um, that in the first Helldivers, I think they actually would hire Helldivers to help them out and run things, and then cyborgs eventually became Terminator.
Okay. All right.
Because they became less and less human, as well as the uh super Earth would regulate them harder and harder and harder,
Yeah.
and then it became no freedom.
Yeah.
But they're kind of compared to like the in-game propaganda as like the old like Cold War commie
Yeah. Yeah. Where they're
kind
like
of
going against status quo. I like that.
yeah.
All right. All right.
Um, so the peak in the last week or so, or 24 hours, I should say, of this recording is like 380,000 for Helldivers 2
Yeah.
people playing just on Steam alone. Um, they've had to constantly fight to get their servers back up, but honestly, it is pretty fun. Like
I will
you've
give
got
you
yeah
anytime I see like the bug gameplay,
yeah
it's funny because there's a bunch of memes going around where like it's like when you're in like facing bugs versus the automatons, like the bugs you're like almost like a giggling baby just like throwing stuff around and you're having fun. And then it's just like the automatons and you're holding your brother as he's bleeding out. You're like, we made a mistake.
yeah.
But anytime you do see some of that stuff, it looks pretty like looks pretty sick. Looks like
Okay.
every war cutscene in a video game smashed into actual gameplay.
Yeah, you got the Super Troopers bugs on one end, and then you have the Terminator fight on the other side.
Yeah, yeah,
But what's fun about it is how it plays, how it feels, but the whole upgrading thing is you're not really a single character. You kind of play as the management of your ship of the fleet.
okay.
Right? So you're sending down troopers, and it's not you're not respawning. You're sending down reinforcements.
Okay.
Is the kind of thing there, and so each person on a squad of up to 4 has their own fleet ship that they can use their resources from.
Okay.
So you can upgrade like your hangar bay so that way your airships like you can call down airstrikes and stuff like that from
Yeah.
your eagles and stuff like that, or you can upgrade your orbital cannon for different things there, and that's just shot from space, and
Yeah.
you kind of get a combo. You get support gear that you upgrade, like whether or not you're going to call down RPGs like anti-tank rockets or a railgun or grenade launchers, flamethrowers, which is really fun on the bugs but useless against the robots.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean, where it feels like the bugs are like just a great time of just like, what is it, that Warhammer? I'm still standing here better than ever was.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man. Like
Yeah.
my first like 5 games was exactly that, cuz I was like just a baby, and I joined on my buddies that were like almost level 20, and they were running like some meat like difficulties ranged through 1 through 9, and they were like 5 and 6.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, it's all right. I'll suffer through it. And while I was playing with those guys, I didn't die once. So it's like, man, this trooper's gonna make it. Join a
Yeah.
random lobby the next day, get killed by a friend's airstrike, and I'm like, there goes his story.
That
But yeah,
yeah.
it was kind of funny in that way. But what's really awesome, so you get the whole map, you get your objectives. There's the side objectives for the bugs. You can go clear out their nests and get some bonus stuff out of
Yeah.
doing that. You don't. So what makes it fun and kind of compelling to even go to the higher difficulties as you level up is as you progress and you go to these higher difficulties, the enemies don't get harder. Tougher units are more likely to spawn, and in general, there's just more of them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least they're not like
Um,
bullet spongy.
No, it's more or less just getting to their weak points.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But with that, so you're calling down supplies. It's just the battle zone. It's how remember Power World when I was just like smiling and laughing and saying war crimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
this.
then I play this game and I'm like, ho ho ho, war crimes.
Yeah. Seems to be a theme this year.
Yeah, but you know what though? Now that these games are considered AAA, Power World or Helldivers,
Helldivers, yeah.
or Pacific Drive, and those like 3 games alone already seem like top hitters for this game of the year
Yeah.
for 2024.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Like Pacific Drive should have probably maybe came out a little bit later to avoid the like as Helldivers is like they came out in the same month and it was kind of like, oh, Pacific Drive, that seems cool, I might pick that up, and then Helldivers came and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna be too busy playing that.
Yeah, I think that Pacific Drive is a good one for single player people. So yeah, if you're mostly into single player, you're not playing Helldivers. But I think you're right in the fact of like, I think there's a lot of people that are playing Helldivers that would want to play Pacific Drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, splitting them up too much right now.
Yeah. Like I'll send you a little thing there. It's like you'll go from just killing a bunch of little bugs to just like all of a sudden you're flanked by
Yeah,
a big guy, and it's just
yeah, I've seen those ones, and I've seen like the orbital strikes coming in. Some of those look crazy to
yeah.
me.
Oh yeah. Like the orbital lasers is just this like laser that it's not just a one just shot. It's a laser that's scraping the surface of the planet
Yeah, that
and
is
going
so
over
freaking
top of these
sweet.
things, and like that's one of the big hitters.
Yeah.
Um there's the Eagles that drop like the 50 or the 500 kg bomb.
Okay, I love that.
And then the other big hitter is the orbital rail cannon.
So
So
that's
it's like
obviously a very
those are your big 3 for taking out the big guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that
But
is cool.
what's crazy is like going against like the automatons and like the higher ranks is like they straight up get tanks.
Oh, actually, okay.
So you're like infantry, it's like, all right, I gotta find a way to flank this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they actually getting shot back at turns it into grabbing a cover and less of a running gun, like with the bugs. The bugs
Yeah.
is like like you have the charger that's charging at you, and you're like shooting at, trying to blow the armor off of the one of the legs so you can get to the squishy part to take it
Y-
out,
Yeah.
and then
S-
you're pretty much being ole and dodging the bull because they have a
So,
dive button.
so do all the enemies know where you are at all times?
No, there is
Oh.
a weird kind of cloaking thing. You can straight up Metal Gear Solid crawl your way, avoid patrols, which is highly recommended during like
Mm,
the higher levels of play. But
yeah.
everyone's too gun happy to try and do that.
Well, yeah, you want to have fun with it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but like you can crawl, you can strategically take out like points of interests. Like if you see like an automaton's factory, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, I'm gonna call in the airstrike and then toss it over. What's also cool with calling in all these abilities
Yeah.
is you're playing a little bit of Dance Dance Revolution with it. Have you seen someone call one in?
No, no.
So it sounds like it might be tedious, but it's actually like the most kind of like it adds the intensity. It doesn't take away from the game.
Yeah.
Is so initially you're like, okay, I want to call something in. You hold control and you'll see like a little like 5 different direction arrow prompt, like putting in a cheat code in San Andreas on the PS2, where you're like, all right, I gotta like left, down, up, right, and then now my little call in device is programmed for an airstrike, and now I just throw it like a grenade.
Oh, I kind of like that. Just so like if you
And then
died,
reinforcements is a different one. Also, if you have the orb programmed and you get knocked over or thrown, the orb
yeah.
will drop with whatever's programmed in it. So if you're like, okay, I'm gonna throw a nuke
Oh,
all the way over there, and then a ram shoves you, and your buddies are to your right, and you drop that nuke ball, and it's called in on your
I love
spot.
that. Yeah, that makes sense though, because like in actual war, if you were dead, you don't want the enemy grabbing this ball and then having like the capability to nuke it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So you
but
program.
yeah, so you're actively programming. Now, if you change your keybinds off of ASW,
Yeah,
DS, and all that into
yeah.
something else, you can run around while you're programming. But then you gotta take your hand off your mouse to hit those buttons while you're running. But yeah, no, it's actually like a blast. Like it's one of those ones like I wasn't sure about it because I was just kind of like, when I was watching
Yeah,
it, but playing it, it's a game that's a lot more fun to play than it is to watch.
yeah,
Where a specific drive I'm looking at, it's like I feel like I'm having more fun watching somebody else play this as I'm trying to fall asleep.
yeah, yeah. You can fall asleep on my beanbag chair. There you go. You're gonna have
There
to
you
fight
go.
Kayla for it, but and Harlow for it, but yeah.
All right. But one thing is, you know how we're having the bad. It seems like every episode we have news about layoffs in the tech industry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this one's no different. Sony layoffs, Naughty Dog, Insomniac, and other
No,
studios.
no.
8% of Sony's entertainment division had or laid off 8%, which is equivalent to about 900 people.
Jesus Christ, all right.
Which came with information of a couple of cancellations that I'm even kind of sad about.
All right. What?
So one of the cancellations was the Last of Us factions after 7 years of development.
Yeah,
So that
that's
was
too
going to be
bad.
like the multiplayer off of the Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
Um, you got more. Now there's already layoffs with the Bungie studio. Um, but the Last of Us is the one known. They also canceled uh a series revival. We don't know which one. People are speculating it was Twisted Metal.
Yeah, that makes sense. Didn't they have a show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their London studio that was making a number of their VR titles
Yeah.
got shut down. So their VR is about to take a big hit for titles that they
Oh,
were gonna
yeah.
have. But on the other end of VR, we're actually getting a lot of games like
Okay.
what seems like to be bangers for VR.
Yeah, just not
There's
Sony's.
yeah, as well as like they're constantly modding old games to run onto VR. Where is it? But the Quest 3 is doing good.
Yeah.
The Quests in general actually makes up, as of a survey, about 53% of VR users,
Oh, yeah,
and
makes
then
sense. Made it
PSVR
affordable.
2 is making up 30%, and then PCVR, like all the third party ones afterwards, are making up around 20.
Yeah.
Trying to find the one VR title here. So there is this one title. Okay, so have you seen the game Medieval Dynasty?
I've heard it.
Okay, well, it's essentially start off as just a villager, work your way to a kingdom. It was
Yeah.
released just on PC, and now it's got like a whole VR thing around it now too.
All right, I am going to cut you off there. We just finished up our Amherst Island Broadcast Edition 101.3 FM. Thank you so much for listening to On the Rewind this week. We are going to continue this show on Spotify, Amazon, pretty much anywhere where you listen to podcasts. We're going to be there for our extended edition. Thank you so much for listening.
Welcome back to On the Rewind.
Okay.
So if that goes well, we could end up with something close to like Bannerlord, but VR down the road. What's also kind of interesting is, have you seen that lawn mowing simulator?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that blew up for no good reason.
No.
It's like,
Well, it's like
I
the
don't know
Power
how-
Wash simulator, right?
yeah, I was gonna say, it's like that, like at least like the ranching simulator and stuff like that, I can kind of get.
Yeah. Yeah, some people just like the satisfaction of just, getting every little blade of grass.
I'm just getting to that old and seeing now where I'm just kind of like, I look at a game with like war and guns and I'm like, yeah, I'll do that at a game safely and have a fun time. I see someone playing lawnmower simulator, it's like, why don't you go make a quick buck and actually go do that?
Yeah, I do agree there where it's like, no. It's weird after you don't like build anything up. You're like, yeah, I did this lawn. It's like, I don't know, but I'm more of a base building guy where I like showing stuff off.
But there is this one game, I finally found it. It's for VR, Wanderer. It's kind of, so you collect these objects from different places and periods in time, and and the best way to put it, you can, any objects you grab from different worlds, you can take with you to any of them, right?
Okay.
So you find like this water bottle squirt gun, right?
Yeah.
So you unscrew that, empty the water, and then you put in a token into your watch that takes you to a time where you're like in like the 70s. There's a you're at a car drive-in movie theater, and you start siphoning gas into that water bottle. Screw that back in. You grab a lighter,
Oh, okay.
and then you go into like this Aztec temple. You find a crossbow with like some bolts. Go into the future, you end up getting like a handgun, and then you go into like World War II, and then you start taking on the Nazis.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
You're all over the place, but it's a little bit of the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I sent you a link to the website, so you can kind of take a look. If you scroll down to the what's new, you can kind of see how it kind of all ranges there.
Well, yeah, I saw like the moon, saw that Aztec temple you were talking about. Then all of a sudden you're in like the second story of World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
But
that
what
is.
looks really good is like VR platforming is getting better.
Yeah.
Like like the actual jumping around, like parkour kind of thing.
Excuse me.
Like
Yeah.
that as a whole seems to be getting better.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool. There's one thing where you can teleport and you're now in a band.
Yeah, I saw that where like all of a sudden you're putting your drumsticks together. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't know how it all ties in together, but it's definitely like a double A VR is starting to come around.
Yeah. Where you feel like it's worth it.
Yeah. You remember that Contractors game you and I used to play?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Better modding support nowadays, and they're also working on their own like battle royale kind of
Oh,
thing.
jeez. Okay.
So that'll be kind of interesting. Population 1 went free to play.
That is something. I'm sorry, they should have been doing that the whole time.
Yeah.
That makes zero sense to me. Why the only battle royale that was there was not free to play.
Yeah. But at the time though, like, they're trying to make a buck. They did. But with all the different VRs, like the Attack on Titan's finally getting a proper VR.
Yeah.
That's probably I don't know how I feel about that, because like, I don't know, those things look crazy and weird looking to begin with.
Yeah. Being right close to him.
Yeah. But with kind of like the graphics that they're gonna do, it's still a little anime. I don't think it's gonna be too terrifying. but
Mm-hmm.
still, that's like the trailer on that. Like, get me moving fast. I don't know how the standalone headsets are going to handle it, but Steam's currently still working on their standalone, which I'm kind of excited for to see what they do with that. That might be the upgrade road I take.
Standalone headsets.
For Steam's trying to come up with their own.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I definitely, yeah, I would keep an eye on it.
Yeah, though at the same time, the Quest 3 kind of looks nice, but at the same time, like maybe one more generation's worth waiting.
Yeah, I know. To really get into it.
Yeah.
See, yeah, I saw
Like
the on the
the
Quest
PlayStation
store.
VR's got the graphics, which
Yeah,
it's there, but it's not like, you're still wired. You have to have a PS5.
yeah,
Whereas like the Quest, you can get those graphics if you're hooked up to a computer.
yeah.
But
See, I like the on the Quest store. I saw a game for the Quest 3 where it turns your house into zombies,
yeah,
like a zombies map with all the wooden board and stuff. I'm like, oh my god. One, Kayla would kill me, but two, it'd be so funny to do. Just running
yeah,
around, kick a cat, and just like boarding up the walls. But also imagine seeing that from the outside perspective. I'd probably out
yeah,
crackhead the crackheads.
yeah. There is like one VR game I'm kind of interested in. It's that Ghost of Tabor. It's kind of like VR Escape from Tarkov.
Okay. Actually, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen that.
and
I think so, yeah.
that just it seems it's just appealing to me. It's just because one of those ones is like, yeah, I'm just gonna go in with a pistol, and then you're just gonna be all sneaky in the bunker and try and take a guy out to get his stuff. But
I
the fact
love
that there's
having.
the voice, the fact that there's voice chat and everything, the trolling that you can do.
Oh yeah, no, whisper right in the guy's ear, or give him a little kiss on the cheek right before. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you sneak up behind someone.
You gotta be careful of that, 'cause half those kids on the headsets nowadays or half the people on the headsets are minors.
Oh God, right? Yeah, yeah. You just
Especially if
stare
a
at their.
game's free to play.
Ah, yeah.
Because Tabor isn't, but that's like, population one, any kid with a VR headset.
Oh yeah, isn't the popular VR game for them Gorilla something, Ape something?
Gorilla Tag, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah,
Uh, Jason played that for a little bit.
yeah. I think it's a little bit younger than him though. I think it's like
He-
real young kids.
Yeah, well, he was playing probably at the early pandemic, so like, it would
Okay,
have been like
okay.
that. It would have been like, a few years back, just before high school going in.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, then that would have been perfect. Yeah. Because yeah, anyone I see,
You wouldn't think so. When was the last time you seen my brother?
it's been a while. It's been a while. I have a. Well,
He's
see, the problem
taller than
is,
me now.
well, see, anytime I see him, he's like walking by and he stops, he looks at me, and then he walks away. I go, "Hey, hi, because I'm like, I
Yeah,
barely realize
he
that it's
comes by
someone
that
else.
honestly,
Yeah, it's just like,
because I do it. My dad does it. He
yeah,
does it.
well, yeah, it's
We're
funny.
we're
Just
we're the head we're the head nod and move on.
well, by the time I
And
realize that it's like not you waiting at the doorway or something, looking at like your phone or something. All of a sudden, I'll be like, I'll register. It's him. Then I go, and he's already gone. I'm like, I need to wave. God damn it. So honestly, I haven't gotten a real good look at him.
Hey,
But
well,
yeah,
next time you're over, I'll make him stand beside me. And yeah, I know
jeez,
I got a little bit of height on you, but he's got height on me now.
oh jeez, yeah, that
But
would freak
yeah,
me out.
no, I bribed him so to help him kind of stay on task of his chores. He's like, look, you stay on top of it. My payday, I'll get you hell divers. And he's just like, okay. And from what I've heard, he's been doing good.
Oh wow, you shouldn't have to do that, but it's a very smart tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he was like talking to me. He's like, "Oh, have you seen this game? Oh, this game looks so cool." It's like, "Do you want it?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Well, stay on top of your chores." for a solid week, and yeah.
It's funny. I do the same thing with adults and smokes and cigarettes. I'm like, do this for me. Here's a carton for you. Or with some guys at work, I'm like, I know you're an alcoholic. Here's a 6-pack. If you just please do this and don't have the managers come talk to me. I just want this to run smoothly. I'm like, oh, sweet. And then all of a sudden, yeah, I get them at their vices.
Yeah. Video games is a vice at this point. It's
Oh,
expensive
definitely.
enough to be considered one.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I don't know if I ever told you, in high school, that's how I got a lot of stuff done. Is I would steal smokes from my mom, and anytime I needed something done, I had the number of 5 kids that smoked, and they were all super sketchy, nice people, super sketchy, didn't have a lot of money for smokes. So I had a really crappy car for my first car, and anytime I shut it off, I needed someone to boost me. So I remember one day I text one guy, I go, full pack of smokes. If you leave class right now, bring your car around, boost me. He goes, all he said was full pack, question mark, question mark. I go, yes. No answer. All of a sudden, his little Honda CR-V pulled up. He went up over the curb. He goes, what's up, man? How's it going? I go, going great. Here you go. He goes, they're actually real. I go, yeah. Because I didn't know if they were bag smokes or something. And then, yeah, he jumped in my car and I was off. I did that a few times. It was really saved me a few times, actually.
Look at you being a hustler.
No, it was just, yeah, it was like friends are great, but also I don't expect them when like, they're like, dude, I'm in class. Can you not wait like 10 minutes? It's like, yeah, no, I can wait 10 minutes, but I can also provide a service to someone who's going to be here now. It's one of those things like, I can drive to the
Cater
store.
to their addictions.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I can drive to the store or DoorDash exists. It's like, well, I'm just going to get DoorDash. I can sit here and do what I want. Apologies for the cough, people, but yeah, still hanging on there.
Yeah, no, I'm still on that, like, the most I get close to like a DoorDash thing is like I don't want to wait in line when I get there, so I'll order the food to pick up on via the app.
Oh, good for you. Because DoorDash
So
ruined my bank account years ago.
yeah, so it's like, oh, like, okay, it's like 5 minutes to lunch break. I'll go put in my Harvey's order on the phone, and then when I get there in 10 minutes, it'll be there, and I can just pick it up and go, and I'll still have
smart.
the rest of my 20-minute lunch break rather than like the 10 minutes left.
See, I used to do that at Tim's all the time, except Belleville. No, it was Napanee Tim Hortons, and they never did their orders. I would always go up and I'm like, hey, I'm ordering. They go, okay. And then I'd get up there and then they would start making it. I'm like, oh, he told me like 5 minutes. So I made sure that I left 5 minutes. So I would be here and just pick it up.
Well, it's like the Wendy's one. It's like, there's like, you put in your order and then you hit a button. It's like, I'm here. And then they'll make it then. So it's like, all right.
It's like, why am I doing this? The whole point is to save time. Yeah, no, good for you though, because in college, Skip the Dishes, I had just moved from a rural place with no DoorDash or Skip the Dishes to a downtown section. Yeah, I'll say the price on here, but I'm bleeping it out. Over my whole college term, I added it up one time, like just takeout and stuff.
That's a car.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. There was a few times where I looked and I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's like me looking back at when I looked at over the course of like when I got my first loan and I paid that all off. It's like it's only like a $3,000 loan, but I ended up paying it back 4 times in full.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's funny. God bless Kayla. I had to tell her because they put that at the bottom of your statement. They tell you how many payments and how much you're actually going to be paying at the end of it. Yeah. I think she's paying off $2,500 for like a while and like kind of keeping it just below. And she goes, yeah, it's weird. It's just like it kind of like feels stagnant almost. It's like going down a little bit. I go, look at the bottom. And for 2,500, it was like 25 grand was what she was going to end up being paying over the minimum pay period. I was like, yeah. It's like, no. So like when you get money, yes, savings, but also just dump a bunch of it on that credit and just get it off.
Yeah.
Like I'll deal with some bills for a while if you promise you get that done. And then, yeah. But yeah. Yeah, no, that stuff's crazy.
It's crazy how much we end up like all the little things and stuff like that, and all the fine print. Just like everyone's out for that dollar.
Oh
on
yeah,
you.
yeah. World keeps moving, man. They keep wanting to get something.
Yeah.
Right. We do have a question. Thank you for submitting a question. It's always fun. And it's kind of funny. Without Derek knowing the question, we have almost centered our entire show around this sort of talk. And I kind of love how this worked out. Would you rather only play AAA games for the rest of your life and never be able to play anything else? Or never play a AAA game again, but everything else is up for grabs? And I had this I got this question, and then I had to drive home because at first I was like, oh no, I'm good without AAA. But then I started thinking about like, do you consider Cyberpunk AAA?
Yes.
I know, and I'm like, okay, and then Fallout 4, that's definitely AAA. So there's like,
Now here's the question: would you consider Baldur's Gate 3 AAA because it started out as early access?
is it a triple? I think for this you'd have to look at the studio almost, and you'd have to be like, but then also I think I'm like, well, the last games that I've played, Cyberpunk excluded from that. I'm like, well, I'm actually getting more into like indie games and smaller games.
Okay, so here's the problem with all of these naming things.
Yeah.
All right, so I looked up, is Baldur's Gate 3 a AAA game? And the response, according to the Steam community discussions, is Baldur's Gate 3 is a AAA game. Its developer is an indie dev. So, both.
Damn it. Yeah.
But the thing is, though, it's not that they're indie in the sense of it's a small team. It's just that they're an independent studio not owned by anybody and they self-publish.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd pretty much just have to be like pretty brutally honest with yourself of what do you consider AAA. And like with Cyberpunk, it's like, yeah, I asked, but I already knew it was AAA, and you're like, ah, damn it. I don't know. It's one of those things that you're like, yeah, you gotta be brutally honest.
Let me put this in. Helldivers.
Oh, I would consider that not AAA.
I'm just gonna see what the consensus is. Here's the thing: is Minecraft straddled the line between indie and AAA due to its indie origins, but after its acquisition of Microsoft, it's considered a AAA game.
Yeah, I guess.
Also, the problem is like, is every AAA game a good hit? No, but
No.
are you gonna get your Elden Rings, your Red Dead Redemptions, your GTA's? Like GTA 6 is probably gonna be like my next big. Yeah. GTA 6 is probably something that's high up on my docket for the radar for, okay, let's see what they do here. Like
Yeah.
Rockstar's always been that kind of developer in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the times where games I didn't play, like what's that one? The detective one, Noir something. You
Oh
know,
God, L.A. Noir. Yes, 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 yes.
LA Noir. I didn't actually play that one, but I watched it and kept up to date with it, and I was just like, oh, that's really cool. All the technology went
It's
in that. That was
so
like the
cool.
first one where they got the really awkward cameras to get in all the micro details of
Yeah,
everybody's
yeah,
faces to the point where it's like, you're lying, you're telling the truth, etc.
yeah,
If that.
yeah.
Um, but at the
See,
same time, there's games like the Outlast Trials that, like, I love that game. And then
mm-hmm.
there's like Lethal Company. I don't know. Would you consider like Payday? Like Payday 1, no. Payday 2, maybe like a double A, but Payday 3 really tried to be triple A and didn't
Yeah,
succeed on
yeah.
that front.
I would give you Payday 2. I wouldn't give you Payday 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah. See, that's the thing is like, are you going to play all the big titles that everyone else is gonna play? You're limited because it's AAA, or are you going to have a vast library of any other game you can play, but you can't play those huge ones? Like I
So,
said, personally, right now, I'm playing a lot of smaller games.
mhm.
So I'm a little biased right now, but then I think Cyberpunk, if I had never been able to play that, that would be a real bummer to me. And Fallout 4 as well. Like I've played that 4 or 5 times and love it, but
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a difficult
And
one.
then there's a lot of games that teeter that double A or triple A.
Yeah.
And for some of these like studios and stuff like that, like their whole claim of triple A game, it's mostly based off of the price point and how well known the publisher is.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
well, look at Bandai Namco that publishes almost everything
Yep.
in the gaming scene, like everything from Elden Ring, all your offshoot anime games, to like Little Nightmares on the indie scene. Like they're kind of what's that? They're kind of like Devolver as a publisher, but just more anime focused.
Yeah.
With anything from those two studios, and they do a lot of indie, but they're a well-known publisher, so those could be easily considered AAA. If anything's got a price tag of over $30.
Yeah. I think you would almost have to start looking at price tags where you're
Yeah,
like, if they're justifying this much money, then I would put them at AAA, which sucks, but yeah,
what's
like Little Nightmares
crazy
definitely indie.
what's crazy is I'm seeing Tekken 8 going for like $93.50 Canadian,
Jesus Christ. Okay.
like the newest Tekken fighting game. And
Yeah.
then you have this offshoot of an anime fighting game that also came out the first of this month for like 80.
Jeez.
And then something that came out last October for like an offshoot anime game, also 80. And then another one for like $54,
Yeah.
right? That was even earlier that year. But
Yeah.
the whole thing with all of that is the kind of just basically, if you're looking at the price point and I click on that offshoot anime that's not Tekken,
Yeah.
graphically cool, but at the same time it's just like a side-scrolling Dragon Ball Z fighting game that's I personally could not recommend for that price point, just on the sheer bias that it's you remember that anime game, that fighting game that had all the different anime characters that should have been a huge smash,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
it had Naruto, it had Dragon Ball Z and everything else like that,
Yep.
and how it was kind of, people cared, people tried, but at the same time, it was kind of very slapstick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of
last
things
minute.
are getting sold at AAA prices for slapstick.
No, I totally agree.
But if you look at the other end, if you say no to AAAs and you're looking at all the base games, and let's say no A's at all, right? Then you're looking at all the simulator games.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think for
Like,
the question, you have to pretty much, for your definition of what you think is a AAA game compared to
look at
everything else.
look at Dying Light, the first one, even, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
considered AAA.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's another one that I thought about. I'm like, oh Jesus, all right.
Even though that kind of like it kind of feels like a AA game, like Dead Island, but those were
Yeah.
considered AAA games at the time.
Yep.
Like let's look at top selling. Like, you might get Pacific Drive, considering it's the first release of a studio, but at the same time, like it's coming out on consoles and everything else like that. It's got a pretty big release.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So your alternatives, and like Ark Survival, it's like that was originally supposed to be like just a AA kind of like indie thing, and that's kind of blown up. And the way they've monetized it, you could say it's AAA
Yeah.
after all the polish. Same thing with like No Man's Sky. It's like at first it's like, survival games kind of are out of the AAA. It's like, no, not really.
No. Let's say it's Sony behind them.
Yeah. But in that sense, though, you would get games like Outer Wilds.
Yeah. No, I know. It's one that's like kind of made me think, where it's like it all depends. Like, oh yeah, I've seen Outer Wilds. Thought about getting that.
Yeah. And maybe Stray you would be able to get.
Yeah.
The one with like it's the cat
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I would
and
definitely
the
consider that.
robots.
Not AAA. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd get cool things like that.
That's what I mean. Where it's almost like, do you want to go with the status quo, or do you want to be able to explore all the alternatives,
Yeah.
but never be able to really get like the top of the creme de la creme?
Yeah.
By the way, thank you, Mickey G, for this question. Cause yeah, no, this is a good one. I don't know. I've had the luxury of thinking about it for about 2 hours plus nap time, but yeah,
Yeah. I think the best way to divvy this up, if you really want to get an answer for yourself, go on Steam.
yeah,
Look at the different, like, find a game that you consider AAA.
yeah,
Find a game that you consider indie, and click on where it shows you on the side, where the publisher. Click the publisher, and see what games are listed under that publisher. And just because like Helldivers too, as though it's not published by, it's published by PlayStation, which is considered AAA, but the studio itself is considered AA.
yeah,
But at the same time, under the PlayStation thing, you see like Horizon, Until Dawn, Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, Last of Us, God of War.
yeah,
Like, you see all those games, and you're like, yeah, no, that's off the docket. Like, it'd be like getting, you could like, if you chose that you couldn't play AAA, you could probably play like Witcher 1 and 2, and that's it.
yep, yeah. Oh, that link you just sent me too. What is this? This
That's the same
is
people that makes Stray.
in Outer Wilds. Anna
That's the people that
per
published that. So all those games would
Nana.
be there, but your Dying Light 2, the Persona 5, the Final Fantasy 7, all the Final Fantasies.
Yeah,
Hell, even back in the PS1, those were like the AAA games.
Yeah, you know what though? This that last thing you sent me of that publisher kind of made me think, you know what? I um I wouldn't be spending as long gaming, but I think gaming there'd be like so many more times where I'd actually be like,
But let me send you this one. Take a look.
10 minutes.
Like what 2K all has.
Oh yeah, well, freaking they
Everything from
always
Borderlands, the wrestling games, the sports games, um, WWE,
Mafia.
Mafia,
Oh, the
Sid Meier's
Bioshock.
Civilization, XCOM, Sid Meier.
Yeah, man, that's the problem here is like, oh, there's a 2K VR experience. That's kind of sick. Um,
Bioshock.
yeah, the Bioshock I'm looking at, I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
God, I love the Mafia series too.
So you could have Stray and Outer Wilds, but you'd lose like Borderlands, Mafia, all those other ones.
Yeah. Damn it, yeah.
Sorry, I'm not making this any easier for you.
Well, yeah, plus then I just started thinking about the Arkham games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say this: don't have if you don't have both, then the other one won't ever improve.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I probably had too much fun playing like the Red Deads and the other stuff. Like I don't think I could let go of AAA entirely, so I'd probably
Yeah.
have to go that way,
Yeah,
especially like
that's
the
actually
Dying
where I
Light and
ended up.
all that, and like the Final Fantasies and everything else like that.
Yeah.
As
It
much
would
as I've had
stink.
fun on Helldivers, the fact that like every probably like once a month I've hopped on Golf It way too late at night playing with a couple of people I know over Discord,
That's
and the game's
hilarious.
putting me to sleep and I'm just relaxing hitting golf balls and
Yeah.
getting frustrated at not being able to get it in the hole.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you would lose some charm.
Yeah.
But then for your overall experience, if you're going to end up gaming, you're going to end up having a quality time.
I would probably lose probably more than 2/3 of my library if I was to take the AAA only route though.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, yeah. I'm gonna have to go quality over quantity. That one.
Yeah. But hopefully, but at the same time, sometimes you get quality out of, you know, not AAA.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. Sometimes AAA are garbage, but then yeah, you also gotta think that yeah, like indie games are sometimes very charming in their own regard and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I'd have too much fun. So yeah, no. Once again, really nice question there. Um,
You know what you could play?
what?
Drug Dealer Simulator if you chose the other route.
Yeah, that would be fun.
um,
Also, there's one on my wish list called Contraband Police. Looks really funny and really fun, but yeah, no, I'd have to give up indie and all that and all the rest of them.
yeah, unfortunately, like it's one of those things that's like I really didn't want. Like if you had to, it's like I don't wanna.
Yeah, I know. No, like there's no realm where I want to do either of them. But yeah, if you had to choose that, yeah, damn it, that was a thinker though.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
I kind of put you through the gauntlet on that one, showing you here's all your favorite games on this end of the spectrum, and here's a bunch of games that you're like, oh yeah, that on the other
Well, yeah.
side.
Well, like honestly, my gut reaction was, because I'll take indie games because right now I'm playing indie games, and then I started like on the way home, I'm just like, all these games that I've spent hundreds of hours in, I'm like, these are all AAA, like all the ones with the base building and stuff like that. Like Fallout 4 was the big one for me,
Yeah.
where I'm like, Yeah, all the time I spent in there just gone. Does not sit well with me. So yeah, once again, thank you for the
Actually,
question.
on that note, if you can do it quick enough, if you can pull up your own games in your Steam profile, you can
Man,
organize it by playtime and
I
see,
like
and
that.
you can truly see what you spent your time playing there
All
for the
right, let's
most.
check. Playtime. All right, so Payday 2, GTA 5, Witcher 3, Dying Light, Cyberpunk, Skyrim, Civilization Unturned, Dying Light 2, Saints Row the Third, Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
I didn't know I played so much Unturned. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Also,
But
GTA.
looking at all mine here, it's like, yeah, I played a lot of indie. Like a lot more indie than I thought. Now my hours in them, it's like, okay, well that one. There's a couple where it's like I booted it up, but I know I played that on console a lot more.
Yeah,
Like
well, it's
My
that's
Saints Row 2 is only 10 hours on Steam, but I know I beat that game 3 times on the Xbox.
well, yeah. This last year is the first time I'm actually getting really back into
Yeah,
gaming because of the new PC. So, like, if we put PS5 on this, all that, then
yeah.
yeah, would definitely bump that up a lot more. Yeah, I only have 24 hours on Arkham Knight on Steam, but then I like pretty much killed that on PlayStation. All right. Is there anything else you want to cover?
No, I think that about wraps it up.
All right. Well, once again, thank you for the question. That was actually really sick. Didn't know how long that would take us, but then we went down a rabbit hole of sorts. Thank you so much for listening to this extended edition of On the Rewind. Um, we broadcast on Amherst Island Radio 101.3 FM every other Thursday. Did miss last week because your boy was sick. But thank you so much for tuning in this time. I'm Adam.
I'm Derek.
We just rewound.
Rewound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's probably gonna end up terrible in post.
Oh, I stopped fixing it now. I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to On the Rewind.